The obituary said I had died 6 weeks earlier. I was standing in my husband's study holding the page when Daniel walked in and stopped so suddenly that coffee spilled over his hand. "Claire," he said, "where did you get that?" It had my full name, my age, 51, my childhood church, even the middle name almost nobody used. It said I had passed peacefully and that my sister Natalie would receive friends after a private service. Daniel's name was not in it. Neither was the fact that I was standing 10 feet away, alive. Before I could ask why my husband kept a professionally typeset announcement of my death in a locked drawer, his phone lit up. Natalie. I grabbed it first. Her message read, "Did she find it?" Daniel did not ask what I thought it meant. He only said, "Please don't call your sister yet." That was when I understood the obituary was not the worst thing he had hidden. I had trusted Natalie longer than anyone. She was 3 years older, the sister who braided my hair before school, covered for me when I came home late, and slept on my couch after my first engagement collapsed. When our father left, Natalie became the person who explained why he never came back. At 51, I ran a property appraisal office and liked things settled, labeled folders, paid bills, calendars planned weeks ahead. Daniel used to tease me that I could turn a vacation into an audit. Lately, that habit had become a weapon between us. For a year, he had been vague about money and impatient whenever I asked why our retirement account was growing more slowly than expected. I responded by checking more. He responded by telling me less. Natalie always defended him. When I complained that Daniel had canceled our anniversary dinner because of work, she said, "He's under pressure. Don't make everything a deposition." I had never told her he canceled it. A week later, Daniel changed his phone passcode. Then I noticed a hotel charge from a Tuesday he claimed he was in Cleveland. The hotel was in our own city. I chose the innocent explanation because the alternative required my husband and sister to become strangers at the same time. Then I found my obituary. One detail kept bothering me, the middle name beneath my photograph, Elaine. My father was the only person who had ever called me Claire Elaine. I had not heard it in 38 years. Daniel would not tell me who wrote the obituary. He sat behind his desk and said, "It was never going to be published." That is not an answer. I know. Is Natalie involved? His silence answered first. I left with the page folded in my purse. For the first time in 27 years of marriage, I checked Daniel's phone records. 18 calls to Natalie in 1 month, most after 10 at night. One lasted 43 minutes. Then I found an $18,000 transfer from our joint savings to Natalie. When I called her, I kept my voice casual. "Did Daniel lend you money?" A pause. "No. Why?" "Just checking something." She laughed too quickly. "You always are." That evening, Natalie came over carrying soup. Daniel arrived 20 minutes later. They stopped talking when I entered the kitchen. "What were you discussing?" Natalie lifted the lid. "Your blood pressure, apparently." Daniel snapped, "Claire, stop." After she left, I searched the coat Daniel had worn on his supposed Cleveland trip. I found a hotel receipt. Room 814. 2 breakfasts. On the back in Natalie's handwriting were 4 words. She cannot know yet. It should have answered everything, except the room had been booked for 3 people. For an hour, I tried to prove myself wrong. I opened my calendar, old texts, even the notes app where I recorded household expenses. I wondered whether Daniel had mentioned the hotel, and I had forgotten. Whether Natalie's sentence meant something harmless. Whether my need to control every uncertainty had finally turned into suspicion of everyone around me. Then I found a text from Natalie from that same Tuesday. "Wish Daniel luck in Cleveland." She had not merely known his story. She had helped build it. The following Friday, I told Daniel I was attending a conference. Then I parked across from Natalie's apartment at 6:12 p.m. Daniel's car pulled up. She got in. I followed them to the same hotel. They went upstairs. I waited 12 minutes, then took the elevator to the 8th floor. Room 814 opened before I reached it. Natalie stepped out. Daniel stood behind her. She touched his face. He pulled her close and kissed her. It was brief, not enough to prove a long affair, enough to change everything. I left before they saw me. At home, I put Daniel's clothes into trash bags, photographed the hotel receipt, phone records, transfer, and obituary, and sent copies to Aunt June, our mother's older sister. Her reply came immediately. "Call me. Do not confront them until we talk." June arrived an hour later. She looked at the obituary and went pale. "Where did you get this?" "Daniel's desk." She rubbed her thumb over my printed middle name. Then she said, "Your father used to write." I laughed once because I thought I had misunderstood. "Our father abandoned us. He left." "That part is true. And the rest?" He wrote. "How often?" She looked at the floor. "How often, June?" "Every month for years. All those birthdays when Natalie had said, if he wanted us, he would find us. I asked June where the letters were. She said, Natalie knows. Before June left, I pressed her again about the letters. She refused to say more. Your mother made choices when she was scared, she said, and you helped her. June flinched. I helped keep the family together. It was the kind of sentence people use when they know the truth would sound worse. My phone rang. Daniel. I answered and asked, did you sleep with my sister? No. Did you kiss her? Silence. Yes. I closed my eyes. Then he said, and that is not the worst thing I've done. Daniel came home and did not deny the kiss. He said it had happened once before, 6 months earlier, after he told Natalie something he had hidden from me. I lost money, he said. How much? 140,000. He had moved part of our retirement savings into a private investment without telling me. The company collapsed. Natalie knew because he went to her for help. The $18,000 had not originally gone from us to her. Daniel showed me the transfer history. Natalie had sent him money first. He had repaid part of it from our account, then changed the label in our budgeting software. Why would she give you that much? He said. Because some of it was yours. Then he told me my father was alive. Edward Mercer, 79. Living 2 states away. Natalie had been in contact with him for decades. And you knew for 6 years. Daniel said he discovered it while helping Natalie clear our mother's papers after her funeral. He found letters, records, and photographs. Why didn't you tell me? Natalie begged me not to. She said it would destroy what you believed about your mother. That is her reason. What was yours? He looked away. So I lied. I already sent the obituary to a lawyer. I had not. His face changed. Not fear of embarrassment. Fear of exposure. Please don't do anything until you talk to Natalie. That was when I stopped believing he had lied to protect me. The next morning I went to Natalie's house and told her Daniel had confessed everything. Another lie. What exactly did he confess? She asked. You tell me. She stared at me, then opened a cabinet above the refrigerator and took down our mother's old metal recipe box. Inside were bundles of letters. My name was on every envelope. Claire Elaine Mercer. Some had been opened. Some still had unbroken stamps. I picked one from 1998. My father apologized for missing my college graduation. A copy of a check was folded inside. I had paid for college with loans and 2 jobs. There were letters about birthdays, money, photographs, invitations. Then I found copies of replies, signed with my name, written in Natalie's hand. You wrote to him as me. At first, just to make him stop pushing. For how long? She looked away. 26 years. My sister had not only hidden my father, she had become me. In the letters, I forgave him. I thanked him for money I never received. Some of that money kept our mother from losing the house. Some paid Natalie's nursing school debt. Later, she admitted, some paid for her failed business. You stole from me. Yes, and let me hate him. Her eyes flashed. He gave you more, even when he thought I was the one answering. I was the daughter who stayed, and he still wanted you. For the first time, I saw the old wound beneath her choices. It did not erase the choices. I asked, why write my obituary now? Natalie whispered, because he found you. My father had hired a private investigator. He discovered that the woman writing to him as Claire lived at Natalie's address. When he confronted her, she panicked and told him I had recently died. The obituary was supposed to prove it. Daniel had helped format it. He had used my photograph from our 20th anniversary. My husband had chosen the picture for my fake death. Natalie said Daniel refused to publish the notice but agreed to mail a printed copy if Edward promised to stop trying to reach me. Why would Daniel care? She hesitated. Edward had sent money for me over the years. After our mother died, Natalie kept what remained in a separate account, telling herself she would return it when she confessed. 6 months earlier, Daniel realized his investment loss would soon become visible. He asked Natalie for help. She gave him $35,000 from money Edward had sent for me. Daniel had not merely hidden her secret, he had used it. Natalie had bought his silence with money that belonged to me. Their kiss happened after the transfer, when Daniel broke down and Natalie told him they were the same kind of coward. Neither called it love. That did not make it harmless. I left, then called the number written on the latest envelope. An old man answered. This is Claire Elaine Mercer, I said. He went silent. Then he spoke my childhood nickname, a name Natalie had never used, and I realized there was still one person in the story I needed to hear face to face. I asked Edward to meet me at Aunt June's house. Natalie and Daniel came too. Edward arrived first. He was thinner than I imagined, with a cane and a face I recognized only around the eyes. He did not rush toward me. He said, I left when you needed a father. No excuse, no speech, just the first clean sentence anyone had given me. Natalie arrived next. Daniel stayed near the door. I placed the obituary on the table. "Who wrote it?" Natalie said. "I did." "Who chose the photograph?" Daniel said. "I did." "Who decided I should be dead?" No one answered. Edward finally said, "All of us, in different ways." He admitted that years earlier, when letters went unanswered, he had accepted distance because it was easier than facing our mother. Later, when Claire began replying, he accepted forgiveness on paper because it was safer than asking whether he deserved it. June admitted our mother intercepted the first letters. She had been furious over Edward's debts and afraid he would take us away. When teenage Natalie found the box, our mother made her promise not to tell me. Natalie kept that promise and betrayed me with it. "I thought I was protecting Mom," she said. "Then I started needing the letters." Needing what? To be the daughter he wanted. Then she handed me a letter addressed not to me, but to her. Edward had apologized to Natalie too. He had invited her to visit. She never answered. "Why?" Her face tightened. "Because if I answered as myself, I had to find out whether he loved me without pretending to be you." That was the piece I had missed. Natalie had not lived under my name only for money. She believed my name was more lovable than hers. Every year, she continued, confession became harder. I turned to Daniel. "You knew for 6 years. You watched me grieve a father who was alive. Then when the truth threatened to expose your money, you agreed to tell him I was dead." Daniel's voice broke. "I thought I could fix the account before you knew." "That is what all of you did. You decided when I was allowed to know my own life." I tore the obituary once, straight through my photograph, and placed both halves on the table. "I'm done letting other people write my version for me." Daniel stepped toward me. I stepped back. That distance was my answer. I did not go home with Daniel. Within 3 weeks, I moved into a furnished apartment above my office. By winter, I filed for divorce. Daniel sold his share of a rental property to repay the retirement money he had lost. We speak politely now. I do not hate him. I also do not confuse understanding his fear with trusting him again. Natalie and I did not speak for 4 months. She returned the remaining money from Edward's account and sold business equipment to begin repaying what she had used. The rest became a written debt between us. I have forgiven pieces of her, not the whole. Sometimes she mails me one of the old letters without a note. I read it when I am ready. Edward and I meet once a month. He is not the father I imagined at 12. He is charming, selfish, funny, evasive, generous, and sometimes late. For once, I get to discover that myself. Last week, while unpacking the final box from my old house, I found the anniversary photograph Daniel had used in the obituary. For a moment, I wanted to throw it away. Instead, I wrote the date on the back and placed it beside the torn notice. Not because that woman died, because she finally stopped letting other people decide what her life meant. The deepest betrayal in my family was not a kiss, a missing check, or even a forged obituary. It was the repeated decision that I could not be trusted with the truth about my own life. Natalie hid behind my name. Daniel hid behind fear. My mother hid behind protection. My father hid behind distance. Each had reasons that made sense to them, but none had the right to choose for me. Forgiveness can soften anger, yet it cannot return stolen years, and love without honesty can become another form of control. Who betrayed Claire most? The sister who lived under her name, the husband who protected the lie, or the family who first decided she should never know the truth? She should never know the truth. She should